calculating the surface area of a cylinder is straightforward if we think about the different pieces of a cylinder. Here's a cylinder, and its top and bottom are congruent circles with some fixed radius. We can think of each of those circles as being a base area, which is why they're labeled with B in this diagram. And when we take out those circles, what remains is the body of the cylinder, which, if we unroll it, just like a label on a soup can, it turns out to be a rectangle, which means this is a pretty straightforward calculation. So the surface area of a cylinder is going to consist of 2 pi r squareds. That's a pi r squared for the circle on the top and a pi r squared for the circle on the bottom. And then we just need to add in the surface area of the rectangle, which is like that main body of the cylinder. The area of a rectangle is simply base times height. The base length of this rectangle is whatever length was necessary to wrap around the cylinder, which is just the circumference of the circle. So that base length of the rectangle is in fact c. And then the height of the rectangle is just the height of the cylinder. Now this c, the base length of the rectangle, which happens to be the circumference of the circle, we can calculate this because you probably remember that circumference is equal to 2 times pi times the radius of the circle. So we'll go ahead and replace c with that, 2 pi r. And thus, we have our formula for the surface area of a cylinder, the area of the top and bottom circle added together with the area of that main body, which is a rectangle, if we unroll it. Let's go ahead and try applying this to a cylinder. Here is a cylinder with a height of 8 inches and a radius of 4 inches. So what is the surface area of this cylinder? We'll call it S. Well, based on the formula that we just figured out, we're going to need 2 pi multiplied by the radius squared. The radius is 4. I know this is all in inches, so I'm going to leave the units off until the end. In the end, our units will be inches squared because we're calculating an area. So our radius is 4, and we need to square that. And then we need to add 2 pi times the radius, which again is 4, times the height, which is given as 8. Then simplifying this sum, 4 squared is 16. And if we multiply that by 2, we get 32. So we have 32 pi plus 4 times 8 is 32. And if we multiply that by 2, we get 64. So this is plus 64 pi. We can then combine these. If we have 32 pi plus 64 pi, that's a total of 96 pi. We could leave it like this, 96 pi inches squared, or plug it into a calculator and find that this is approximately 301.6 inches squared. And that's how you find the surface area of a cylinder. Just do 2 pi times the radius squared plus 2 pi times the radius times the height. Whatever unit the radius and the height are being measured in, your final answer should be in that unit squared. In this case, the radius and height were in inches, so our final answer is in inches squared, since this is an area measurement. Here's one more example to try on your own, and the surface area formula for reference if you need it. The radius of this cylinder is 3 inches, and the height is 5 inches, so go ahead and try to calculate the surface area. I'll put the solution on screen now. And there it is. I got 48 pi inches squared, or approximately 150.8 inches squared. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions, and be sure to check out my pre-algebra course and pre-algebra exercises playlists in the description for more. Thanks for watching.
I'm a secular anesthetic for my own effigy. I didn't try just to be regular.